reasons, because or because they're better paid than the rest of the military?
Both, but primarily for tribal reasons at the moment. When we look at the command structure within Libya's military security forces and even the political appointees at the moment, not only do they hail from the tribe he comes from, they hail actually from the specific branch of the tribe from which he comes from. That suggests that a test of loyalty at a very core instinctive level is a requirement for him right now to feel secure, to feel safe, to be able to launch the kind of offensive.
Yeah, we talked previously about defections perhaps being crucial. Defections are much less likely to come from the kind of fighting force that you're talking about, whereas the regular army may be, if ordered, to fire upon fellow Libyans. But are they fellow Libyans? I mean, evidence is coming in that there are foreign mercenaries at work here. There was talk today of a pilot being captured who was Syrian. I mean, how many foreigners are on the payroll in the military?
We don't know. What we know is that an estimated 500,000 African workers lived in Libya. Many of them could have been recruited. We're not necessarily talking about mercenaries who were flown in and paid, but people who may have been recruited on the ground and forced to just go out there and pick up arms and fight alongside the regular military troops. We really don't know the extent to which he's relying on outside mercenaries. What we can be sure of is that any instrument of mobilizing support, political, military, security, including mercenaries, will be deployed at this moment. And that might not necessarily change the facts on the ground as we're seeing them, but tactically on a day-to-day basis, city-by-city basis, this could prove important and critical in seeing whether the march from the east actually manages to reach Sirte and Tripoli.
Tariq Youssef, many thanks indeed. Tariq Youssef is the Dean at the Dubai School of Government. Afghanistan's President Hamid Karzai has told the US that civilian deaths in his country are no longer acceptable. Hundreds of protesters took to the streets of Kabul to demonstrate against US military operations. Last week, Mr. Karzai warned President Obama that civilian casualties were a serious problem. Civilian deaths have leapt in number in the past year as insurgents increasingly attack soft civilian targets. Meanwhile, a roadside bomb has killed 12 civilians near the Afghan border with Pakistan. The attack happened in the eastern Paktia province. Another 5 people were wounded when the bomb exploded next to a truck which was packed with people. Reports suggest that the dead include 2 children, 5 men and 5 women. Japanese media are reporting that the foreign minister, Seiji Maehara, has resigned. Maehara had been accused of accepting political donations from a foreign national. On Friday, he admitted to accepting money from a Korean resident in Japan, but said that he'd done so unknowingly. China's government has tightened controls on foreign media and has stepped up security in Beijing and Shanghai following calls for pro-democracy protests. Security forces kept a close watch over Beijing's Tiananmen Square and possible protest sites included in a bustling shopping district nearby. The calls for the demonstrations have been inspired by the uprisings that we've witnessed across the Middle East. Now, it's not particularly pleasant work, but for some Indonesians on the island of Java, catching geckos has turned into a lucrative business. Step Varsen went on a night hunt with them.
A watchful eye, hunters ready for action. Armed with sticks and hooks, they spot their prey. A sudden attack. The animal doesn't stand a chance. Their prey is not a bear or a pig, but a small lizard. Still, it's dangerous work.
I have been bitten before, and because I tried to pull the gecko from my arm, it started to bite harder, and I got a nasty flesh wound. I cured my wound with tree wax.
Hunters can spot the small animals in the dark because their headlights make their eyes turn red. As soon as night falls, geckos come down from the trees looking for food. That's when the hunters venture out. To be a gecko hunter, you need very sharp eyes, a lot of patience, but also a lot of courage, because even in the middle of the night, they look for geckos at a graveyard. But this job is much better than they ever had before. The captured geckos are kept in a cage before they are killed one by one. Those who have laid eggs can stay alive a little longer. Their remains are put on a stick to dry. Then, by thousands, they are put in boxes to be shipped to Hong Kong and Taiwan. This one small operation provides an income to more than 50 people.
People in Taiwan use medicines from geckos against the cold. In the cold season, they buy a lot. They also use it against asthma and erection problems.
The demand for traditional medicine in China and Taiwan has brought some wealth to impoverished villages in East Java. But the gecko business has a downside. Because of the high demand, fewer lizards can be found in the forest. Farmers are now starting to breed geckos to stay in business. Stepvasen, AlJazeera, Probolingo, East Java.
Now let's head to Brazil, where Rio's world-famous carnival gets underway in full in just a few hours. But it somehow won't be quite the same for a few of Rio's samba schools this year. They spent all year building elaborate floats and costumes, only for a huge fire to destroy the lot. Al Jazeera spent time with Elizabeth Santana, who works at one of those schools.
My name is Elizabeth Santana. When I have nothing to do in the sculpture department, I come over here to this float decoration section. When you have nothing to do, you go help others, because those very people will in turn help you when you really need it. This year, I have seen lots of solidarity between the different departments. This tragedy helped us come together for the school. Most of the things were finished. When I saw the windows shattering, I was overcome. The windows of our workshop exploding really was shocking, because I thought about all my friends inside. Not to mention losing all of our work. There were lives to worry about inside, so I was panicky. The things that we were building over several months were lost in the fire in seconds. There is no explanation. It hurts even to think about it. We still will have our parade because we need to show that Portela is not just a school, it's a family. We are all in this together, working for the school. It's not just us. Portela has a long tradition. It's a big league school which goes back a long time. We have to parade no matter what. Everything that you work hard at, which you make an extra effort at, is much more satisfying when you see the final result.
Now here's a question. What links the Hollywood blockbuster Avatar to a Canadian campaign to save an ancient forest? We'll find out next. And as England find themselves involved in another thriller at cricket's World Cup, we ask if South Africa can hold their nerve. Andy has all the sport next.